Blog Talk Radio.
We take the journey. This is the program about life, positive people doing positive work while serving a positive God. His name is Jesus. So we're excited about that. Listen, our story, subject matter today is the story of Mizpah. The story of Mizpah. Yeah, after your deception of faith, can there ever be peace? After you've deceived, can there ever be peace? This program is brought to you in memory of First Lady Leora Queen Turner, my lovely wife, who was the co-founder and co-hostess of this program. This program is brought to you by God, for God, and through God. All right, if you like that, that is the new introduction by music by Dr. Bert Cross. I said Dr. Bert Cross. It's called On Top of the Hill. We've used it for commercial music, but I like it so much. I wish I wrote it, that I'm using it for the intro. Shout out to Dr. Bert Cross. God bless you, sir. And that's very important to know who has written it. Now, let's get into this conversation, the story of Mizpah. Genesis 31, verses 47 through 54, the story talks about an intense relationship between relatives. Jacob had served his future father-in-law, Laban, for 20 years. Somebody say, why? Why did he do it? Well, let's tell first about Laban. Laban was dishonest with Jacob, who himself was known as a trickster. Oh, my goodness. However, he found out that there is always someone else better at it than you. Good God Almighty. So Jacob, it says here in the story, fell in love. It was love at first sight. The brother fell head over heels instantaneously upon seeing Rachel, Laban's daughter. It says she was beautiful and shapely. She was a fox. So he ended up working to get her hand in marriage. Whatever happened, brothers are having to go to the father because the daughter belongs to the father as a gift from God. So some low pant wearing dude, you can't just take my daughter and try to marry her without talking to me, without getting my blessings. Yeah, and if you're not careful, getting this here shotgun upside your head if you try to disrespect her. And that's what I'm talking about. So he said he worked for her for 14 years. That's some love right there, I'm telling you. Just to have the rights to marry her. My goodness. Now, fellas, let that sink in. What are you willing to do to have her father accept you as his future son-in-law? Good God, man, this could be shocking and exciting today. Let's see here, because I have wondered when I've been in church, especially the church I grew up in, the Apostolic Church, the First Apostolic Faith Institutional Church located at 27 South Carolina Street, Baltimore, Maryland, where the real bishop was Bishop Winfield Amos Showell, and there ain't no other. All right. And so, and Joseph Turpin, these are real bishops. Yeah. So anyway, it says here that in Genesis 31, let me go back to where this starts at, 47, it says here. And if you like what's going on and you want to add something to it, if you're a theologian, if you just want to say congratulations to Music Man for Elevation Radio 1 being nominated and actually officially, just got the notification today, officially accepted, and as the radio station of the year, by the Newsom Gospel Awards Committee. Oh, that's fantastic. And so that'll be on August 11th, and we'll talk more about that. But if you want to go with me, support me, after 5 years of broadcasting, then by all means, we'll give you the information. Okay? And if you want to just call in and say, hey, God bless you, Music Man. God bless you. God bless you for what the Lord has blessed you with. Call in at 1-914-205-5353, 1-914-205-5353. And it says here that Laban called it Shegar Shadaftha, but Jacob called it Gilead. And Laban said, this heap of what? Heap of rocks is a witness between you and me this day. Therefore, its name was called Gilead, also known as Mizpah, because he said, and I'm sure you probably have no idea what I'm talking about, but when I say this, you're going to know, because you've been in church for more than 5 minutes, especially if you stayed to the end like you're supposed to. I know you heard these words when the music was playing. May the Lord watch between you and me while we're absent, one from another. Oh, my goodness. So we thought that was pretty deep and spiritual and heavy. Okay, and so this is kind of where it came from, the origination. That's why I got to go to Bible study. That's why I have studied to show yourself approved, workman of God, rightly dividing the word of truth. It sounded good. Where did it come from? This is from Laban. My goodness. And what he's saying is, because we've had such a tumultuous relationship, and because we've had some bitter moments, because we didn't see eye to eye. And when he caught up with Jacob sneaking out, taking his daughters, he was about to put an end to Jacob, stick a knife in him and turn it. But the Lord visited him in a dream, and that's what happened, and said, don't touch him either way. And the Lord knows how to protect his own. And so he'll give your enemies dreams so that they will not bother you. Oh, my goodness, fantastic. And so Laban is saying here, after he said that poetic phrase, he says, if you afflict my daughters, or if you take other wives besides my daughters, although no man is with us, see, God is a witness between you and me. And so it says, and then Laban said to Jacob, here is this heap of rocks, memorial. And here is this pillar, which I have placed between you and me. This heap is a witness, and this pillar is a witness that I will not pass beyond this heap to you. I'm going to let you go. I'm not going to come past this rock, because God will watch what this contract is saying between you and I. And you will not pass beyond this heap and this pillar to me for harm. Oh, yeah, because we got some bad blood. So let's just come to a situation of peace and let the Lord watch out. Well, why in the world would it get to all that? Why in the world would son-in-law get angry with his father-in-law? Why would a father-in-law be angry with his son-in-law? Well, my goodness, if you have been married a little while, my goodness, you should know that sometimes the family, the in-laws, are more like outlaws. And sometimes the in-laws can be your greatest blessing. But it ain't always that way. Every now and then it don't work that way. So when you marry someone, when you get a little soft on her, the eyes get a little foggy when you see her. You love her, but remember now, she comes with a package. Package, sometimes baggage. Package may be that she comes with old attitudes. She comes with customs and the way that their family has done things. You don't know this. You'll find out about it. And she comes with aunts and uncles and mothers-in-law and cousins and nieces and nephews. Oh, my God. It could be like Midian, like a bunch of ants trying to take everything you got. and it could be contributing to you, like a blessing. But that's why I got to pray and ask God, should I marry this person? Am I getting involved with something that is just a little too much? Will it be a blessing or a nightmare? Oh, my goodness. If you've had a few nightmares or a few blessings, call in at 1-914-205-5353. How has the in-law family that you married into been to you? Oh, my goodness. And so it says here, let me go back here. It says that in verse 8, as Jacob is talking to a bunch of herdsmen, he says, but they said, we cannot until all the flocks are gathered together and they have rolled the stone from the well's mouth, then we water the sheep. And so when Jacob was in a new land, he was trying to get them to hurry up and water their sheep so he could move on and do what he needed to do by trying to water his. But he said, we're going to have to wait. It's not the right time. You can't go into somebody's land and somebody's country and do what you want to do. You got to follow their customs. And so it says here, now while he was still speaking with them, Rachel came with her father's sheep, for she was a sheep herdess. So David was a shepherd, my goodness, and he took care and protected the sheep of his father. But it says here Rachel did the same thing, equal opportunity. Didn't know that, okay, and protecting her father's sheep. And so it says, and it came to pass when Jacob saw Rachel, the daughter of Laban, his mother's brother, and the sheep of Laban, his mother's brother, that Jacob went near and rolled the stone from the well's mouth and watered the flocks of Laban, his mother's brother. Wait a minute, I'm saying. We want to make sure we don't miss this. It took several men to roll the stone away from the well's mouth. But it says that when Jacob saw Rachel, she was so fine. Woo! She was so pretty. She was so beautiful, much like my late wife. And that he just didn't even ask her, do you need something? Like, what can I do for you? Do you mind if I roll the stone away for you? He just went ahead and did it. Chivalry, because she would have had to do it, wait for the other men to do it. And so, some woman said, are there any chivalrous men left in America? Are there any in the world? Are there any chivalrous men left in Baltimore? Well, okay. And so it says that after he rolled the stone away for her, watch this now. And I got to take some notes here. It's kind of smooth. It says here that Jacob, after he rolled the stone away, he kissed Rachel and lifted up his voice and wept. Lord have mercy. I'm not sure why he was crying, but it probably just so sweet he couldn't help it. He lifted up his voice and cried out, hallelujah, glory. Any brothers ever met their wife and did one of these numbers? It's very smooth here, Jacob. And, I'll tell you. And she let him kiss her. Something to think about there. Most men would have been slapped, been laid out. I don't know about in the rest of the world, but this is Baltimore. You've been slapped. They might pull a gun on you. It's kind of rough out here. Okay, would call their uncles, cousin poo-poo, and try to take you out. But she didn't do none of that. And so it says here that, what does it say here? And that, and Jacob told Rachel that he was her father's relative and that he was Rebekah's son. So she ran, because she knew what that meant, and told her father. It would be good for daughters to tell their fathers when some man is trying to push up on them, trying to make a pass at them. Good for us to know so we can protect you. Don't give me your number. Hello. My God. And so just Jacob told her, yeah. And so then it came to pass that when Laban heard the report about Jacob, his sister's son, that he ran to meet him and embraced him and kissed him and brought him to his house. So he told Laban all these things. And Laban, the father-in-law, said to him, surely you are my bone and my flesh. And he stayed with him for a month. Jacob stayed with Laban for a month. And I'm reading right from the Word of God, biblically, straight up from it. Verse 15, then Laban said to Jacob, because you are my relative, should you therefore serve me for nothing? That sounds pretty good. Tell me what should your wages be? You name your own price. Yeah, you can give yourself a pay raise. Kind of sound like Baltimore City Council and the mayor. They vote themselves pay raises. Anyway, and so it says here, now Laban had 2 daughters. The name of the elder, the oldest one, was Leah, and the name of the younger one was Rachel. Leah's eyes were delicate, but Rachel was beautiful of form. She was shapely. She was a fox, and her appearance, she was a knockout. I don't know who she could be compared to, but I guess she was a knockout just like Eve was. For Adam said, bone of my bones, flesh of my flesh, she shall be called woman. He was amazed at the blessings of God. When you, good God Almighty, when you were looking at a beautiful woman, especially a sanctified, saved, godly woman, that is beautiful, and even if you want to add a little icing on the cake, shapely, woo, can you have it all? Chiseled by the hand of God. I'll get myself in trouble. That it's just amazing, and so it's a celebration. Yeah, so that's wonderful. You don't have to have some homely woman. God is producing for Jacob and for Adam women who are off the chart. Yeah. So now Jacob loved Rachel, so he said, I will serve you to Laban 7 years for Rachel, your younger daughter. Oh, my goodness. That might be a study of the most beautiful women, the younger daughters. Yeah, it seems that way. And Laban said, it is better that I give her to you than that I should give her to another man. Stay with me. So I got a deal. So Jacob served 7 years for Rachel, and they seemed only a few days to him because of the love that he had for her. Yes, his brother is under the situation. He's not in love. He's in love. That's L-U-V. He don't even care about the time. Time stands still every time he look at Rachel. Oh my God, he's working the land. He's working the field, and all he got is in his mind is the goal that he's gonna be with Rachel. Wow, I'm telling you, something else. Heaven must have descended every time he looked at her. My goodness, if heaven descends every time you look at your wife, then by all means, give me a call at 1-914-205-5353. How long would you work for her? Oh, my goodness. How long did you work for her? Did you work for it at all? Or did somebody just hand it to you? Oh, my goodness. And so, says, and Jacob said to Laban, give me my wife, for my days are fulfilled, that I may go in to her. Uh-oh. We're getting into some adult conversation here. He's talking about going into her to cheer her up, to drink water from his own cistern, as they say in Ecclesiastes, which means that he's going to be romantic, intimate with his own wife. Oh, my goodness. Truly, we have gotten it all wrong. Truly, America does things the wrong way, the opposite direction. And so now they tell you that you can't marry someone unless you have lived with them and have sampled the goods first. It's called fornication. And, oh, my goodness. And you say, are you crazy? How you know how they are? You need to check it out first. God don't give no samples. You either accept what he gave you, If he gave it to you, you have to keep your hands off it. Oh, my goodness. And if you try to give it to yourself, I've been on both sides of the street, then you'll sample the goods and get yourself in all kinds of trouble. Keep your hands off that woman. Oh, my goodness. Ask God for help. For it says better for a man not to touch a woman, to take fire into his bosom. That's what's going on here. So it says now that he went in he wanted to go in unto her. And Laban gathered together all the men of the place and made a feast. They threw a party. It came to pass in verse 23 in the evening that he took Leah, his daughter, Laban did, and brought her to Jacob. And he went in unto her. In other words, the tent was dark. Laban brought her to the tent door. It was kind of shadowy and late at night. And he couldn't see because there was no electricity. Probably no candles because he burned up the tent. So they were burning up the tent another way. And so it says here that, and brought her to Jacob, and he went in unto her, and Laban gave his maid, Zilpah, to his daughter Leah as a maid. So it came to pass in the morning that, behold, it was Leah. And he said to Laban, what is this that you have done to me? Was it not for Rachel that I served you? Why then have you deceived me? They playing games, man. And Laban said, it must not be done. So in our country, now using the custom, using the culture, con man, to give the younger before the firstborn. Mm-hmm. You can't have the youngest one. That's the one you wanted, but you can't do that because our custom won't allow that. Okay, well, why don't he explain the custom to him before he got started? Trickster, deceiver. Know anybody like that? Yeah, can't trust him. Yeah, dishonest. So he says to him, fulfill her week, and we will give you this one also for the service that you're doing, which you will serve with me still another 7 years. Jacob had to be a special dude. He had to be a special person. He had to be anointed of God because, I don't know, I might have put my hands on him. Are you telling me I got to work another 7 years, 14 years for the one woman that you promised me? This wasn't our deal. Oh, my goodness. What would you have done? If you got an opinion, if you got a thought, call me at 1-914-205-5353, or go to Facebook and hit me in the DM. Go to the Elevation Radio 1 page and let me know, and let me know truthfully what you would have done. Okay, don't give me all that sanctified stuff. Tell me truthfully, because somebody, if you don't give certain people a paycheck, they will lose their mind, let alone a wife. And so it says here, so he says again that for work another 7 years. In verse 28, Jacob did so and fulfilled her week. So he gave him his daughter, Rachel, as wife also. All right, he finally got to the promised land. This is fantastic. And Laban gave his maid, Bilhah, to his daughter, Rachel, as a maid. Okay, so now they're wives. And so father's giving them maids to serve them and to get the hair done, get the nails done, and all that kind of stuff like this. And doing the heavy work. Yeah, whatever it is. And so it says, then Jacob also went into Rachel. And he also loved Rachel more than Leah. Oh, my goodness. Polygamy, you got to watch that stuff. Okay, when you got several wives, I don't know who I'm talking to, somebody out there in Arizona or whatever, got several wives you're messing with, and got a combine going on here, but those wives get jealous. Most men can only handle one wife, and if she ain't from God, you got problems. And so, and he served with Laban still another 7 years. when the Lord saw that Leah was unloved, very important here. I need you to check it out. This is very good. Verse 31, Genesis 30 and 31. Actually, it's Genesis 29 and 31. When the Lord saw that Leah was unloved, she's by herself, she's crying, she's boo-hooing, she's trying to get her husband to pay attention to her. I know we got some women out there like that. My goodness. He opened her womb. Wait a minute now. Hold on a second. For all those folks who are not pro-lifers who want to kill the child that God is trying to give, and because you couldn't maintain your own spirit, you couldn't maintain your own desires, you were full of alcohol, you were full of marijuana, you were full of other things, you were hot under your collar. That's a nice way to put it. You were predatory. You were hunting the man. You wanted him, so you figured you could trap him by sweet talking him, by trying to seduce him. And now you got the gift that God still decided to give you, even though you were doing something wrong, unholy, unrighteous. God has still decided to give you the gift of a child, and now you want to kill it. It says that God opened her womb. He is the giver of life. He's the harbinger of life. He's the author of life. He is love. God is love. And so he produces. The child is the extension of God's love. What is wrong with you? Trying to kill it. Murderous. Good God Almighty. And so it says he opened her womb, but Rachel was barren. Now Jacob loved Rachel more than he loved Leah. Leah was an afterthought. Leah could have been disposed. He really didn't want to deal with Leah. He was if it wasn't for the father Laban throwing her on him, he wouldn't have taken her. He'd have left her sitting there and by herself. That wasn't his first choice. Good God. Somebody has married someone who wasn't their first choice. Woo! But you better be careful how you treat her, because God is still looking and watching. And so it says here, so Leah conceived and bore a son. She called his name Reuben. Some of these names will become familiar with you. Not a Reuben sandwich, Reuben. For she said, the Lord has surely looked on my affliction. Now, therefore, my husband will love me. Oh, my goodness. I know that God wouldn't give me, and not that my husband loved me. Some woman is pining away for her husband to care for her and to give her respect, to love her. If you love your wife, you love God, who Christ loves the church. That's what marriage is an example of. And Christ has never hated the church. My goodness, so you should love your wife. She's an extension of your flesh. No one's ever hated his own flesh. Have you? Oh, my goodness. 1-914-205-5353. Then she conceived again. Now, all I'm saying, he said he ain't really care about her, but he had no problem keep going in and making love to her and coming out with these children. We've got some of that going on, too, nowadays in our urban cities. If you don't love her, leave her alone. Stop bringing children who are unwanted into the earth. So then she conceived again and bore a son, and said, because the Lord has heard that I am unloved, he has therefore given me this son also. And she called his name Simeon. We got Reuben and Simeon. I wish I had some Bible scholars to put this two together and figure out where I'm going. And so it says, she conceived again and bore a son, and said, now this time my husband will become attached to me. Surely this Negro will become attached to me now. I only got 3 of his children. This thought pattern is what's going on even today. You got 4 or 5 kids by the drug dealer up the street, and you're saying, surely he will love me. Surely he's not messing around with me. Surely he is going to be in my corner. I got him now. I haven't bagged him now. I got him. And so it says here, so we got Simeon. Wait a minute now. We attached to me because I have borne him 3 sons. Therefore, his name was called Levi. I'm just trying to figure out, has anybody got what we're going? what's happening now. All these sons and these names should be ringing a bell. If you've been to church sometime, if you've studied, so these names should be coming up to the front of your mind. It says, and she conceived again. Jacob was mighty busy, and bore a son, and said, now I will praise the Lord. Therefore, she called his name Judah. Hold on a second. Some of you ain't got it. Still ain't got it. I'm going to ring my own bell. Woo! Yeah. Oh, my goodness. And Judah means praise. As I said in war, send up Judah first. I wish somebody would be able to tell me, call me and tell me, what am I talking about? Who are these sons that Leah is having? Who are they? What are their names? And collectively, what are they called? 1-914-205-5353. Should be there some Bible scholars somewhere. If you fall asleep, wake up and call me and let me know. And so she conceived, got Judah. And in verse chapter 30, says she bore Jacob. I'm sorry. Let me go back. Now, when Rachel saw that she bore Jacob no children, oh boy, here we go. She had to be black. Rachel envied her sister. Sibling rivalry, jealousy. And she said to, give me children, else I die. Wow. I don't know if we can move on here. This is heavy. I want you to, matter of fact, not how you doing, how you feel. How was your day? Oh, sweetheart, how you feel? Listen, I just love you. I just want you to be romantic with me. None of that build up. Just give me children or die. Wow. And Jacob, anger, I guess so, because your approach was all wrong, was aroused against Rachel. I mean, that's who he loved. She was fine. She was beautiful. She was gorgeous. Even the toes looked good. But something happened to her attitude. Oh, my goodness, yeah. There's something right there. No matter how fine you are, no matter how wavy your hair is, no matter how shapely you are, no matter how long your eyelashes, your real eyelashes or your false eyelashes, no matter how much perfume you have, good God Almighty, how your nails are done, if your attitude is stinky, if your attitude is funky, no real man wants to be bothered with you. Okay, you turn them off, and you'll let you just sit there, and won't talk to you, won't love you, won't come home. Oh, my goodness. Won't want to hold you because your attitude is wrong and foul. Your spirit is dirty. Oh, my goodness. Clean it up. Get yourself together. And so it says here that, so his anger was aroused against Rachel. He said, am I in the place of God who has withheld from you the fruit of the womb? Ain't my problem. If God did that to you, okay, don't be mad at me. I could be coming in unto you, having a romance with you over and over again. We could do it 360 days a week or a year, and still nothing happening. God gives the increase. He gives the fruit of the womb, not me. Something to think about. And so it says, so she said, here is my maid. Here we go. Another Elizabeth. Here's my maid, Belial. Go in unto her and say, and she will bear a child on my knees, that I also may have children by her. She didn't want children because she loved her husband. She wanted children to compete with her sister. I wonder if that's going on now. Oh, my goodness. 1-914-205-5353. Oh, my goodness. And Elizabeth said the same thing. Go into my maid. And that's how the Muslim population came about to Hannah. And Abraham sleep with her. I don't know. This ain't working this year. This ain't working this time of this century. Ain't no wives saying that to the husband. Some husbands may want that, but no, ain't happening. You got one wife, and that's all you get. You can't sleep with her handmaid, can't sleep with her secretary, you can't sleep with nobody else. Oh, but the one wife that God has given you. Oh, my goodness. And so it says that she gave him Bilhah to her maid as wife, and Jacob went in unto her. She gave Jacob a substitute wife. This is heavy, more than any soap opera. And so Bilhah conceived and bore Jacob a son. And Jacob was a mighty man. It says, then Rachel said, God has judged me, or judged my cause, or my case, and he has also heard my voice and given me a son. So she was a surrogate mother. Oh, my goodness. That was good back then, not today. And so it says here, and Rachel's maid Bilhah conceived again and bore Jacob a second son. Then Rachel said, with great wrestlings I have wrestled with my sister, and indeed I have prevailed. So I'm on top of my sister. Yeah, because, she may be the oldest, but I'm the better looking one. I'm the youngest one. I'm the one that got the more bounce to the house. I'm the one. You better know and recognize, baby. She's talking on the air, talking against her own flesh and family, her sister. Wow. Some deep stuff here. What does this remind you? People are not any different than what they were back in biblical days. They're still the same. And Rachel's maid, Bilhah, conceived again and bore a second son. And so when we get down to verse 9, it says, when Leah saw that she had stopped bearing, she took Zilpah, her maid, and gave her to Jacob as wife. Then Leah's maid, Zilpah, bore Jacob a son. Jacob, man, that dude probably didn't leave home at all. He said, I'm not going nowhere. I got these two wives. I can have sex with the maids, with the wife's permission. Well, I'm the king of the house. This is fantastic. Oh my goodness! Some of y'all fellows out there, don't get excited. This is back in the biblical days. You can't do it now. Okay, so calm down. Go drink some water. Then Leah said, a troop comes. So she called his name Gad, warriors. And Leah's maid Zilpah bore Jacob a second son. Woo! I can't keep track of all these kids now. Then Leah said, I am happy, for the daughters will call me blessed. So she called his name Asher. Oh, my goodness. Gad, Asher, Judah, Simeon, Reuben. Is anybody getting this now? Has it all been put together for you? Do you understand who these children became? Oh, my Lord. I wish somebody would call me at 1-914-205-5353 and tell me all about it. And it says, now in verse 14, Reuben went in the days of wheat harvest and found mandrakes in the field, birds, and brought them to his mother, Leah, son, honoring his mother, trying to make her happy. Then Rachel said to Leah, please give me some of your son's mandrakes. Man, you got a husband. What else do you need? Trying to take everything. It sounds like sister. But she said to her, is it a small matter that you have taken away my husband? Would you take away my son's mandrakes also? They're going at it. Yeah, I'm sure you ought to know this. This is exciting. And Rachel said, therefore, he will lie with you tonight for your son's mandrakes. We're making a deal over the son's gifts of Leah. Rachel's going to say, I'm going to loan you your own husband. Good God Almighty. So you can sleep with him, and feel good about yourself. Tonight, I'll let him, turn up on you, okay? I didn't know that these backroom deals were being made by two sisters. It's amazing. And so she said to her, therefore he will lie with you tonight for your son's mandrakes. When Jacob came out of the field, he had no idea, poor unsuspecting fellow. In the evening, Leah went out to meet him and said, you must come in to meet, for I have surely hired you with my son's mandrakes. Woo! Oh, this is, I don't know if it's too adult for y'all. Here, she's trying to get to Mizpah. She's saying, She went out and said, listen, Big Daddy, good kind of money. You're my husband, and I want you tonight. I want you to come in unto me. Yeah, because I paid for you, nigga. I paid for you. I hired you because I let my son's mandrakes that he brought for me. I gave them to Rachel so that she'd make a deal that I can have you tonight. Wow. I didn't know the Bible had all this kind of hot stuff. I just could continue to read because I no sense watching TV. Ain't nothing more exciting than this. When Jacob came, so it says here, and it says he lay with her that night. Woo! Oh my goodness! And God listened to Leah, and God listened to Leah. Let me say that one more time. And God listened to Leah, and she conceived, and bore Jacob a fifth son. Wow! Leah said, God has given me my wages. Wow. Because I've given my maid to my husband. It's just maybe too much. So she called his name Issachar. My goodness. Then Leah conceived again and had a baby, and bore Jacob a sixth son. And Leah said, God has endowed me with a good endowment. Now my husband will dwell with me. I got him now. I got to have him now because I got six sons. And because I have borne him six sons, so she called his name Zebulun. Oh, my goodness, son. I have given you the fruits of what all these sons meant to the nation of Israel. Somebody ain't bothered to call. Let me know what's happening. Afterwards, she bore a daughter and called her name Dinah. 7 children. Then God remembered Rachel, and God listened to her and opened her womb. Open and close, open and close. God just do it all. Oh, my goodness. So when you really want a child, if you're really going to treat your child right, you need to go and pray to God. He the one that opened. Yeah, open and close. It ain't the man that can get tied himself up. It's not the quantity, it's the quality of the work. It's got to be commissioned and ordained by God. My goodness. And she conceived and bore a son and said, God has taken away my reproach. I ain't got to worry about nothing. I ain't got to be looking crazy. So she called his name, wait a minute now, Holmes says she called his name Joseph. And said, the Lord shall add to me another son. My goodness. Now, right there, you should have figured out now what's happening. Okay. The 12 tribes of Judah, Joseph, the dreamer, Joseph, the second in command in Egypt. Oh, my goodness. Joseph, who resisted Potiphar, Pilate's wife, came from this lineage. Oh, my goodness. And so it says here, and it came to pass, and Rachel had born Joseph, that Jacob said to Laban, send me away that I may go to my own place and to my own country. We've outgrown this situation now. I got too much family. I need to go and somewhere where I'm going to set up my own shop, my own camp. Okay. I don't want to be dependent upon you. I'm tired of working for you. I'm a man. I'm a father. I got to go. And so I'll get a piece of my own pie. And it came to pass, and Rachel had again. It said, send me away that I may go in my own place and to my own country. Give me my wives and my children for whom I have served you. And let me go, for you know my service. My service speaks for me. May the works I've done speak for me, which I have done for you. And Laban said to him, please stay, if I have found favor in your sight. For I have learned by experience that the Lord has blessed me for your sake. Wait a minute now. I think you need it. I hope we don't miss it. Some people don't really love you. Oh, my goodness. They don't really appreciate you for as long as you stayed in certain places. They just want to use you because the Lord's blessings and favor are upon you. And when your Lord's blessings and favor are upon you, the overflow of his blessings come down Aaron's beard tends to fall in other places, even when it's unrighteous. Even that situation can get blessed because you're there, and so they don't want you to leave because they can't do it on their own. They want to rob you and be a leech to your anointing and your blessings. Oh my goodness! Sometimes I'm not sure where we're going. Sometimes you've got to go out if the Lord has said start a ministry or start something to bless others, and your pastor's not really working with you. He said, we should stay a little longer because you're blessing his ministry. But if the Lord has said to go out and do something for me in a new, uncharted place, you've got to be obedient to that. You want to notify him, you want to let him follow the Jacob protocol, notify him, but let him know that it's time for me to go, it's time for me to leave. I've absorbed all that I can absorb. I've got all the wisdom that I can stand and take, and I really want a good relationship with you, but I've got to go. And some people don't want to let you go. Some mothers don't want to let you go, son. Some fathers don't want to let you go, daughter. Oh, my goodness, son. So you have to know and follow what the Lord is telling you for your own destiny. Jacob is trying to get his own destiny with his own wives and his own children, but Laban is trying to hold on to him, not because he loves him, because he's using him to make his environment correct, because of the overflow, because of the favor of God upon the life of Jacob. Then he said, name me your wages, and I will give it. You're going to try that again. So Jacob said to him, you know now, or you know how I have served you, and how your livestock has been with me. For what you had before I came was little. Before I got here, your stuff was small, and it has increased to a great amount. The Lord has blessed you since my coming, and now when shall I also provide for my own house? I'm sick of providing for your house. I mean, the Lord blessed you and all that, and you got an increase and all that. But don't try to use me. I got to provide for my own house. I'm a man. I got to do what the Lord's telling me to do for my house and my children. Lord have mercy. So he said, what shall I give you? And Jacob said, you shall not give me anything. If you will do this thing for me, I will again feed and keep your flocks. Let me pass through all your flocks today, removing from them all the speckled and spotted sheep and all the brown ones among the lambs, and the spotted and speckled among the goats, and these shall be my wages. So my righteousness will answer for me in time to come, when the subject of my wages comes before you. Everyone that is not speckled and spotted among the goats and brown among the lambs will be considered stolen, if it is with me. And Laban said, oh, that it were according to your word. So he removed that day the male goats that were speckled and spotted, all the female goats that were speckled and spotted, every one that had some white in it, and all the brown ones among the lambs, and gave them into the hand of his sons. And then he put 3 days' journey between himself and Jacob fed the rest of Laban's flocks. Now Jacob took for himself rods of great poplar, and it says here of the almond and chestnut trees, peeled white strips in them, and exposed the white which was in the rods. And the rods which he had peeled, he set before the flocks in the gutters, in the watering troughs, where the flocks came to drink, so that they should conceive when they came to drink. So the flocks conceived, and before the rods and the flocks brought forth, streaked and speckled and spotted. Then Jacob separated the lambs and made the flocks face towards the streaked and all the brown in the flock of Laban, but he put his own flocks by themselves and did not put them with Laban's flock. Honest man, integrity. And it came to pass, whenever the stronger livestock conceived, that Jacob placed the rods before the eyes of the livestock in the gutters, that they might conceive among the rods. But when the flocks were feeble, he did not put them in. So the feebler, the weaker, were Laban's, and the stronger Jacob's. Smart man. Thus it says here, the man became exceedingly prosperous, talking about Jacob, and had large flocks, female and male servants, and camels and donkeys. And it says now, we're getting to the conclusion, now Jacob heard the words of Laban's sons, saying, Jacob has taken away all that was our father's, and from what was our father's he has acquired all his wealth. And the sons are talking, the sons of Laban are talking about the fact that Jacob is becoming too prosperous. Got to watch it when you become too prosperous. Folk get envious, folk get jealous. That's what happened in Egypt. They said, there's too many Jews here, there's too many. They're going to take us over. We got to do something. And you got to watch it, black folk, when you become too prosperous. Society will try to dethrone you. And so they're rising back up against their kingdom and queendom. They're becoming, they might take us over again like it was in Africa. And we can't have that. That's where that thought comes from. Now it says here that, and Jacob saw the countenance of Laban. His face didn't seem to be too friendly anymore. He had an attitude because the sons had whispered in his ear. He'd taken everything he got. And indeed, it was not favorable toward him as before. Then the Lord said to Jacob, return to the land of your fathers and to your family, and I will be with you. The Lord had to tell him, it's time to go. The Lord will tell you when it's time to leave, when you've overstayed your welcome. Yeah, they're about to do something to you. They're about to set you up. So Jacob sent and called Rachel and Leah in the field to his flock and said to them, I see your father's countenance. It is not favorable towards me as before, but the God of my father has been with me. And you know that with all my might I have served your father. He's doing a testimony to his wives. Now I got to figure out who you love more, your family, or do you love your husband? Are you going to listen to your husband? Are you going to listen to your aunties? Are you going to listen to your cousins? Are you going to listen to your sister? Are you going to listen to your nieces and nephews? Are you going to listen to what the man of God, as you say you wanted to marry, is telling you? Oh, my goodness. That's some real stuff right there. And so it says here, yet your father has deceived me and changed my wages 10 times, but God did not allow him to hurt me. If he said thus, the speckled shall be your wages, then all the flocks were speckled. And if he said thus, the streaked shall be your wages, and all the flocks were streaked. So God has taken away the livestock of your father and given them to me. Black people, that balance, where you've been shanghaied and lied against and lied to by Europeans and Greeks and Jews, and then given low wages, God will bring you out to the top part. That's what he's done for Jacob here. And so no matter who deceives you, who lies to you, who's trying to trick you, who's trying to con you, who's trying to con you in the church, who's trying to con you on the job, one day God will even up the score because he's keeping tabs, he's keeping count. Mizpah. Yeah, we're getting there. And so it says here, he says, so God has taken away again the livestock of your father and given them to me. And it happened at the time when the flocks conceived that I lifted up mine eyes and saw in a dream that, behold, the rams which leaped upon the flocks were streaked, speckled, and gray spotted. Then the angel of God spoke to me in a dream, saying, Jacob. And I said, here I am. And he said, lift your eyes now and see all the rams which leap on the flocks are streaked, speckled, and gray spotted. For I have seen all that Laban is doing to you. Oh my goodness, God is keeping count. And I am the God of Bethel, the house of bread, where you anointed the pillar and where you made a vow to me. You made a vow to me, so I'm making a vow to you. Now arise, get out of this land. I told you to go before return, but now I got to tell you it's dangerous now. You got to get out of the land. Who is God talking to? Get out of the land and return to the land of your family. Then Rachel and Leah answered and said to him, is there still any portion or inheritance for us in our father's house? And are we not considered strangers by him? For he has sold us and also completely consumed our money. For all these riches which God has taken from our father are really ours and our children's. Now then, whatever God has said to you, somebody ought to be rejoicing there, I tell you. Can you imagine having wives that will actually condone and support you, man of God, in trying to do what God has told you to do? Oh, it's a miracle. It's a blessing. If they can't do it, it's a burden. And some folks are living under a burden. But if you can get women of God, your wife, to support you in ministry, like I had with mine, before she descended to heaven, you will be blessed. It's a free spirit. It's incredible. You can really do the work of God without inhibitions. Then Jacob rose and set his sons and his wives on camels, and he carried away all his livestock and all his possessions, which he had gained, his acquired livestock, which he had gained in Padam Aram. It says, go to his father's Isaac in the land of Canaan. Now Laban had gone to shear his sheep, and Rachel had stolen the household idols that were her father's. And Jacob stole away unknowingly to Laban. I mean, he got out, he creeped out, he slipped out. The Syrian, in that he did not tell him that he intended to flee. Sometimes you got to go. You got time to be addressing folk and putting letters and giving what do you call it, stuff where you give letters when you've got to get post office stamped. You ain't got time to make no resolutions. You don't have time to tell them anything. You just got to go, because the sky's getting dark, and they don't really like you anymore. They really trying to figure out how they can plot and plan to kill you and hurt you, and God knows that. So he told them, give you a warning, get out. Get out, run out. Yeah, and so it says here that, so he fled with all that he had, and he crossed the river and headed toward the mountains of Gilead. And Laban was told on the third day, he had left 3 days, and Laban was finally told that Jacob had fled. Then he took his brethren with him and pursued him for 7 days' journey, and he overtook him in the mountains of Gilead. But God had come to Laban, the Syrian, in a dream by night and said to him, be careful, I like it, that you speak to Jacob, neither good nor bad. Don't play with him. So that's when they, with all his bad blood and all his evil intent that Laban had towards trying to use Jacob, that's why they said that at some point, if God hadn't warned him in a dream, he would not be trying to make deals with Jacob and kissing his daughters goodbye, because he'll never see him again, and putting the rocks there to say, I will never cross over here to hurt you. I had intention to hurt you, but God stopped me. Your God stopped me. And so Jacob will not come back to harm him. So they put an agreement together in stone. It's called Mizpah. That's where it came from. And so that's the point. Can I trust you if you've deceived me once? Is there going to be peace? Yes, there can be peace, but I can't come back your way. And I want you going my way. Remember that now. Think about this. Keep that on your mind. And if you'd like to be a part of the Newsome Gospel Awards as we receive the Station of the Year Award, give me a call at 1-410-302-2737 and get you some tickets and go on from there. Well, it's been a journey. God bless you. And heaven smile upon you. Keep your head up. Keep your head up. Keep your head up.